Welcome. My name is Robin Stetzel, and I am going to be talking to you guys today about the autoimmune answer and getting to the cause. So, my name is Robin Stetzel. I'm a registered nurse, and I help individuals get to the underlying cause and get back to wellness. So, I started out an oncology nurse for many years. I've been a nurse for 26 years, and now I work in a clinic with my husband, who's a chiropractor, and we get to the cause of why people are getting sick. Today, we're going to be talking about autoimmune disease. And many times when people come into our office, they may not even realize that they have some symptoms that could be related to autoimmune. So many times when I see a patient, they have been to the alternative doctors, they've been to Mayo Clinic, they've been everywhere, and they're still not getting well despite medications and despite even some natural approaches. So, most likely, if you are walking around with unexplained illnesses and nobody has the answer to why you're feeling the way that you are, it could be autoimmune. So, conditions that are associated with autoimmune disease are things like eczema, celiac, Crohn's, type 1 and type 2 diabetes, Graves' disease, Hashimoto's, which affects the thyroid, leaky gut, IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome, lupus, juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, and even arthritis, and more are all diseases that are associated with autoimmune. So I believe autoimmune conditions in which the body's immune system attacks itself, that's what happens in autoimmune, are the fastest growing epidemic on the planet. And I don't know about you, but I know just off the top of my head in my family, 5 people who are dealing with autoimmune. And by the way, are on the right track to healing and recovering from autoimmune diseases. So, despite numerous types of doctors, medications, and supplements, people are still not getting well. And today I'm going to be sharing with you guys why they're not getting well or why you're not getting well. I will break this down in an analogy that's called the three-legged stool. And then I will also discuss how in our clinic we use 5 key principles to get our patients well and get them into remission. So the last 5 years, there's been tons of amazing scientific breakthroughs in the health and disease world, but this groundbreaking science that is not making its way into the treatment of traditional healthcare is the problem. There's tons of research going on right now and new science where we know the old treatments that were working are not working and are never going to work. And there is a reason why and what we have to shift to. So, my prayer today is that I help you to close that gap into what traditional medicine is doing, why that's not going to work, and why that may not work for you, and where you need to go to get the simple solutions on your way to getting better. So, first, I will share with you guys why I got into this and why I left my oncology career. And it had to do with my son, who's pictured here. He's 16 now, so this picture's a little bit younger where he's at right now in his life. But at the age of 3, I was still working in the hospital as a risk manager. I was also working weekend shifts as an oncology nurse. Bone marrow transplant was my specialty. But I found myself in a place when he was 3 years old that he started to have head to toe eczema. And when I say eczema, that is an understatement. He had skin peeling off his hands and his feet. At night, we would have to wrap his hands and his feet because he would literally scratch himself to bleed. And then they would have open wounds and infections, and behind his ears were just raw, and it was awful. He also started having symptoms of pain all over. He would complain of his eyes being sensitive. I remember having to put up towels in our car because the sun would shine and he would just cover his eyes and say, "My eyes, my eyes." And then he would complain of back pain all the time. So we thought it was behavioral at one point because we thought maybe he just doesn't like to be in the car. Maybe, he just doesn't like the car seat. But he was constantly saying his back hurt when he was sitting in the car seat. And then it started saying, when he was walking, "Ow, ow, my feet, my feet." And so I knew something was going on. And my husband being a chiropractor, we knew chiropractically we thought we were doing everything right. We thought we were feeding him healthy. We thought we were doing all the right things, but I knew deep down in my heart something was wrong. So long story short, I found myself at Children's Memorial Hospital in downtown Chicago, and we started doing testing. I took him to see an eye doctor. I took him to many different specialists because I was convinced he had cancer or something was going on with his bones. Well, what we found out is that he had high levels of blood markers of ANA and inflammatory markers that suggested juvenile rheumatoid arthritis, which is an autoimmune disease that affects the joints and the cartilage. And this is what his problem was. The problem that I had is that the treatment for this was going to be steroids. And if steroids did not work, we were going to be looking at chemotherapy. And me being an oncology nurse, I knew what that path would look like for him. And I did not want to do that for my son. I knew that it was just going to be a roller coaster of symptoms and medication being thrown at us and him not getting well. So I knew I had to do something different if I wanted a different outcome than what I had been seeing all of my patients getting. And that's what we did. I found a practitioner that does just what I'm going to teach you today, and we got my son well. After I did that, I made a promise to God that if I found the way to heal my son and to get him well again, that I would share it with the world. And that's why I left my traditional nursing practice career at the bedside, and I went inside and started with my husband in our own clinic, looking at the underlying causes, helping people with chronic diseases, specifically with autoimmune, and getting them well. So autoimmune diseases are on the rise, yes or yes. Again, when you look at a cover of Time magazine, what is the future of our children? We know now that children are being born sick. Children are being born with chronic diseases that years ago, it would take 20 years for some of these to come up. They're having even high cholesterol now at 10 years old. Asthma's on the rise. All these disease processes are on the rise, just even as a child, including autoimmune. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease, and we're seeing more and more of that. So prior to the 1950s, there were a grand total of 4 cases that were reported in autoimmune diseases. And now today, we will look at over 50 million people in the US that are being affected by autoimmune conditions. That is skyrocketing. Even today, it keeps having great raises in our numbers. So again, there's more than 200 known diseases in the category of autoimmune, and the number is absolutely skyrocketing. We can even associate some of these disease processes as digestive issues, skin problems, autoimmune or autism spectrum disorders, brain conditions, and chronic pain are just off the charts. So again, some of the individuals that are walking into our office have no idea that their symptoms could be related to autoimmune, because the reality is you go to the doctor and many times you don't see the ANAs high, or you don't see these levels high, and there's just not a good test for that. And research shows that in many conditions, it can take 10 to 20 years before you even see anything come up on a blood test. So we even just to get the correct diagnosis is often hard. But then again, when you get that correct diagnosis, many times the answer is steroids and chemotherapy drugs, things that kill the immune system, and then they try to rebuild it. Or you get a diagnosis of scleroderma, which is really just giving them a death sentence because they're saying there's no cure and things are just going to get worse, and there's nothing you can do about it. And I believe that that is not true. I believe in my heart that by addressing what I'm going to share with you guys today, this information you may not have ever heard, you can get well. People with autoimmune diseases can get well. But I'll tell you, is it easy? Absolutely not. It's not easy. It is not easy. It was not easy for us to get our son well, but I can tell you it was worth it. So let's dive into looking at that further. So again, when people walk into my office, they will see that their autoimmune disease symptoms, they may not even know it, because some of these symptoms could be headaches, anxiety, brain fog, even body rashes, the eczema, rosacea, psoriasis, dermatitis, asthma, thyroid issues, of course, unexplained weight gain or weight loss, pain, chronic pain for no reason. Not even, some people get the diagnosis of fibromyalgia, but sometimes they can't even get that because, again, their blood work is not showing it. But those are symptoms that autoimmune is going on. Digestive issues, chronic constipation, diarrhea, bloating, gas, cramping, all of those, again, can be signs that you have an autoimmune condition going on. So now we've gotten to this place in society that these symptoms are so common that they now are quote unquote normal. But I don't know about you, that I am not okay with this quote new normal, because the new normal says that 75% of American adults over the age of 40 have been already diagnosed with at least one chronic disease. I'm not okay with this new normal, and I hope that you are not okay with this new normal. It's not normal, it's common, and things can change. So, when we get into talking about what causes the autoimmune problem, we discuss it by talking about the three-legged stool. So, when we talk about our genes and the study of epigenetics, we now know that our genes are important in how we respond to the environment. Dr. Gupta explained it like this: we can have a picture a loaded gun. You have a loaded gun and it's just sitting on the desk. It's not going to harm anybody, right? It's not going to do anything wrong. But if you pick up that gun and you pull the trigger, there's a potential that somebody's going to get hurt. So think about your genes as this: you can have the genetic makeup that makes you susceptible to autoimmune disease, that makes you susceptible to breast cancers, makes you susceptible to Alzheimer's, those types of things. But just because you have the gene does not mean that you are doomed. And the study of epigenetics tells us that even if you have that gene, we know now that that gene expression, if it's been turned on, it can be turned off. So how do we turn the genes on, or how do these genes get expressed? It's the environment that we live in that pulls that trigger. So again, it's the pulling of the trigger that is the environment in your lifestyle that can express our genes in a sick way, and then we don't get well. But here's the key: we know now by the epigenetics there is a way to turn off that gene expression, not to get rid of our genes and our DNA, but to turn off the expression and make sure that our genes and our DNA are getting well. The number two part of this three-legged stool is stressors. We call this the perfect storm. So just like my son, it was not one thing that caused him to get this disease. What we found out is we knew that my son, through testing, he had a genetic disposition for being very sensitive to mold in the environment. He also had a gene that was called the MTHFR gene. Not to get too far in detail, but what that gene says is that he was not able to get rid of toxins like the average person. So we know about 23 to 24% of the population has this genetic makeup that they just can't get rid of toxins. And so you have got this genetic makeup, but the thing that triggers it is a stressor. You've got the perfect storm. So it's usually toxicities is one of them. Toxic stress, you can have, that's from a chemical stress like mold, heavy metals. You can have things that are, pesticides from a nearby farm. You can have tainted water. You can have all sorts of stressors. Even EMFs can cause that gene to be triggered on. And the other thing too is it a chemical stressor, but it can be an emotional stressor. Many times I hear from my patients that walk in my clinic, they'll say, I was fine until this. I was fine until this. Like I was a little bit, I had these symptoms, but then there was a death in the family. Or I was fine until I had that amalgam removal, or that amalgam even placed. Either one can cause a problem. I was fine until I had that one vaccine. I was fine until I got in that car accident. So you can have a chemical stressor, you can have an emotional stressor, and you can have a physical stressor. And it's that perfect storm that sets us up to have symptoms. The third area of the autoimmune cause is the microbiome. And this is our digestive health, your inner ecosystem. We know now that making sure that our digestive health is the number one most important thing that we address is key to getting your autoimmune disease under control and fixing the cycle from you toxifying yourself. So the causes of autoimmune are not easily identifiable. You've got the genes that are setting you up. You've got the stressors from environmental toxins to even emotional toxins, and even to physical trauma to the spine and the nervous system. And then again, you've got your digestive health. And I can tell you, my son had all three of these stressors, and this is what put him at why he was so sick. So if you think about your body as a bucket or a pond, anytime you come in contact with toxicities, and say you've got this gene expression, your body fills up. And when the body is full, it becomes stress that it can't handle it anymore. Your detox pathways are not supported. Your diet is not supporting so that the toxins can come out, and your body's simply on overload. The bucket is full. And what our program does is address all three of these legs of the stool, because what we find is if you're not doing all three of these, then you are not going to get well. You're not going to see that full expression of life that you're looking for. So those are the underlying causes. So what do we do to fix this? We talk about the 5 R's of true cellular healing and detox. And while I do advanced talks on this, and I could talk about this for 4 hours, we have a short period of time today, but I invite you guys to join my free Facebook group. I'll put the link in the comments. It's the Holistic Health Group, and I dive in and share all free tips, and I dive into each one of these steps on how you get well. But real briefly, I will go over it, and this is what we do for each one of our patients. Number 1, we remove the source. You are not going to get well if the toxins are still in your environment. You have to truly make that your health a priority by removing the source of the problem. So I have a problem with allopathic practitioners, but also even with natural or alternative practitioners when it comes to this topic, because neither is getting to the cause. Many, I shouldn't say all, because we have fantastic speakers that are on this forum with me today, and we are all in alignment with getting to the underlying cause. But again, some practitioners, they don't simply get to the underlying cause. They simply cover up the symptom with either medications or supplement. Neither are sitting knee to knee with people and really digging into the individual's history in order to figure out why, what got them sick. What was that thing that sent that bucket over? So again, when we look at that, we have to make sure that we are removing the interference, removing the source. And even in chiropractic office, if the source of the problem, the interference, is structural damage to the spine, or C1, C2, you've got to correct that spine in order for the brain to communicate with the rest of the body. So removing the sources not only from the outside environment and addressing if there's mold in the environment, or toxicities, or living by a farmland that's being sprayed with chemicals, but you have to remove the source safely from the inside as well. And that's what we do. There are tons of different types of detoxes out there: foot baths, 3-day detoxes. All of those types of things can be really great, and there's a time and a place for that. But what I'm talking about is getting to the cellular level of true cellular detox. You have to look upstream. You have to look at where these neurotoxins go. And many times they go to the brain, they go into the nervous system, they go inside our cells. And you're not going to get well unless you, 1, increase your intracellular glutathione, give the body back what it needs, and allow the body to detox these chemicals out. And we have specific protocols and products and diet plans that help you to do just that. Removing the source is number 1. Number 2 is regenerating the cell membrane. We talk about this. If you want to get well, you have to get the cell well. It starts at the cellular level. The lipid bilayers around the cell allows the good things to go in and the bad things to go out. And if you are not doing things to repair that cell membrane, you can take all the supplements you want in the world. You can inject yourself with IV glutathione. You can do all the things, but the good stuff can't get in still, and the bad stuff can't get out. You have to regenerate the cell membrane. And again, our protocols do just that. Number 3 is restoring cellular energy. So once we've restored the cell membrane and we can get some good stuff in there and get the bad stuff out and stop our bodies from retoxifying itself, we have to restore cellular energy, or what we call ATP energy, how our bodies are creating energy. And there's different types of testing that we do to see, where does your body need support? Do you have those pathways that are supported, that are going to support good ATP energy and allow the body and the cells to heal? Number 4 is reducing oxidative stress. And many times what happens is people are retoxifying themselves, and they're doing this because they are taking products that are not getting out well enough and causing that stress. And again, you have to address what we call the no cycle if you want to get well. So number 4 is reducing oxidative stress. Number 5 is reestablishing methylation. And our methylation pathways are really important because that is how our body gets rid of toxins. It's the only way that our body can really get rid of toxins. I'm going to pause just for a second here. Pardon me. Okay, R5 is reestablishing that methylation pathway. And remember when I talked about if you have that gene expression with the MTHFR gene, this is where we help to give the body what it needs to remethylate those pathways and make this so that that gene expression is turned off and your body can function. Because again, I don't believe that people need to live on a table full of supplements. We should get to the underlying cause, remove the interference, give the body what it needs, repair the oxidative stress, and reestablish methylation so that you can live a healthy life the way that your body was created to, and with minimal supports. That's how our bodies should be functioning. So we do this in our program through diet, supplementation, and safe detox. Is this a get quick, get well, lose weight fast, quick program? No, it's not. This takes time. And understanding that if you have an autoimmune disease, this has been going on for quite a while. You have to give yourself patience and know that you have to take time to really get to the cellular level and detox appropriately. So again, most of our patients, we'll put them on a 90-day program, but most of the time we are still continuing to help them heal over 6 months to even up to a year. It can take that long. So giving yourself patience, working with a practitioner that understands the longevity that's needed to get you well is so important. So just to share a couple testimonials with you, some of my patients, we've got thousands of patients. I've been doing this for over 10 years now, and they get well. This is Teresa. And when Teresa came to me, she had Hashimoto's. She also had unexplained chronic pain and headaches. She had multiple specialists that were on her team, and nobody was getting her well. At one point, she was scared to death because her neurologist, she was seeing him and she started to have signs of MS. And they said, the labs aren't coming back now, but we'll keep an eye on you. We'll put you on some meds. We'll keep an eye on, because maybe it's just in too early of a stage that we just don't know yet. So they just wanted to monitor her, put her on medications, and just check her. And she was not okay with that. She was feeling terrible. She could not take care of her children. So she started looking up more natural ways to approach this. Her chiropractor ended up referring her to me, and she was on Synthroid. She was following a gluten-free diet. She had a slew of supplements, but she still was not getting better. We knew that the cause was still there. So after going through the 5 R's and our program, she was well again. Within 3 months, she had gotten her life back, as she says, and today she's off all of her prescription medications and her autoimmune disease is in remission. And now she doesn't even fear that diagnosis of MS. Looking at Jessica. Jessica, the picture on the left is when she came to us. She was at her wits' end. She came to us and she said she had been praying and praying the night before for answers. And all of a sudden, she got an invitation to come to one of our talks. So on the left, she was on 20 medications. She had her toenails falling off. She had no answers, but she had found herself at Mayo Clinic with a diagnosis of chronic autoimmune disease, non-specific. So they knew that she had chronic autoimmune disease, but they didn't know what or where. So again, the treatment she was on, she was doing self-injections of methotrexate, which is a chemotherapy. And by the way, that's also the pill of methotrexate is the abortion pill. So we know that there's side effects to those medications. And I've not had one person come to me and say, hey, I'm okay with staying on methotrexate. You know, that's the thing is there's a time and a place for medicine, and I am not anti-medical, and I'm not telling you to stop your medications, but by getting to the underlying cause is a way out to make sure that you are on the path to recovery and not just chasing after a non-specific chronic disease. So she suffered from chronic joint pain, severe digestive issues, chronic fatigue, inability to exercise, obesity, and the list went on and on. And here she says, I knew these medications were actually making me sicker. This was the night I decided to listen to God's plan for healing versus any more specialists. Thank you for saving my life. Healing truly is a process. I have lost 40 pounds, no medications, and I can do all household chores and functions without health and actually look forward to drink my green juice and exercising every day. So with her healthy lifestyle, now she is back to functioning. And here's the upside. Many times when people come to me, they are in such a dark, deep place that obesity is just not even, they don't even care about that. That's the least of their concerns. But by addressing the 5 R's and the three-legged stool, the plus side is most of our clients, they also lose weight. And for those people that do not need to lose weight and actually are sick because they're losing too much weight, the 5 R's still apply to you because we still have to increase that healthy fat in your diet. And there's ways that we customize this program just for you. The key is getting to the underlying cause. So again, I thank you guys for being here today. I am so excited to dive in to make sure that you guys understand that there is a way for you to heal. Continue to dive in with me by joining my Facebook group. You can text add me to 815-310-6457. And if you would like to take a quick toxicity questionnaire that we give our clients or our patients and schedule a free consult with me today where I will sit with you and I will go through your health history and see if we can't find the underlying cause to your health challenges and see if our program is a right fit for you. So if you want to get that questionnaire to see what types of toxins you have, to see if toxicities are an issue for you, text the word consult to 815-310-6457 and we will get you started. So join the 3%ers. What is a 3%er? Well, we know that the 3%er are majority of people out there that are making change, that are taking massive action right away and not just being complacent and having their life not where they want to be. It's hard to be a 3%er. It takes work to get well, truly well, the hard way. But I am here to hold your hand, to walk you through it, and to show you that this can be done. So if you guys have any questions, please comment below. Reach out to me. My name is Robin Stetzel, and you can find me on Instagram. I'll post my Instagram handle in the comments, and join my Facebook group. Get a consult with me today and start your path to healing. Take care.